Got that BMW and the Fast and Furious Premium. Don't want those wheels on it. Drill bit gets a little worn. Put it backwards. Makes it temporarily sharpened. Click it back in. What I like to do is just I dab the tip of it. Right there, if you can see it. Very tip of it right there, dab it in grease. Put a little like that. And drill this side. It doesn't clog up the flutes and drill bit. If that happens, you're gonna have to come in here like this. When they get stuck in there, you're gonna have to just clean out the flutes. But if they're greased, you can just pull them off by hand. If it's greased, it drills quicker, cleaner, smoother, and it doesn't dull up the bit and heat it up, and less chance you'll have of breaking the tip off the drill bit. Got this bigger drill bit that I'm going to put in here. And what that does, just about the size right there. That rivet, this post, they crimp, make like a rivet out of it. It's just about that size. That right there, a little circle piece. That's what you want to try and accomplish when you're drilling it out. You want that little piece to get hung up in this drill bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you drilled into it and now it goes up it. Once you get that off, you see how it's pretty centered. You get that off, and then you pretty much, for the most part, you don't have anything left there. See, if you don't want to use screws, you can just click it back together. You'd have to pry it apart and push it back together. I'm sure it would be tough. I'd like to drill it just a little bit more. And sometimes you gotta, if you ain't lined up right, you gotta kind of move it to where you need it. So I'd say it's really close. Drew it out pretty easy. Now I gotta try and get it apart. Find the spots on the base where you can try and pry it. Sometimes you gotta push down on a glass. Bring it close to you to get a good grip. And that's all I did, and I was able to get the front loose. Don't hurt your fingers like your fingernails trying to pry it off. If it's that tough, then you might have to drill a little more. Try it again. Maybe try and push down on the glass a little. Might be working a little bit. There, it come right apart. Like that. Take these pieces, set them to the side. This is what we're dealing with now. We can deal with this first. And what I'm going to do is get out my grinder. This part is in closer, the shaft, so you can kind of get to it without it rubbing too much. If you got to move it this way, you do. If you got to move in this way, you might be able to get it that way. You got to be careful. Like that. Probably good. Got this grinder here. This one's for going around like this. Now you could probably snap this back together. Just like that. And it's tight. And you can, leave it like that. But I like to build stuff really solid. And, kind of thoroughly do it. That's just me, but that's a good way of doing it. But this has an edge on it. Okay, so this isn't snapping back in together anymore. It's a lot looser than what it was now. So now is the next process. Usually most of the time I end up getting in here with a set of snips. Depending on what angle you get it at. Sometimes some are harder to do than other ones. But if you can get in here at a different angle sometimes and try and cut it out of there. I try to do that some before trying to grind it out, because that'd take a long time. Heats up quick too. So I try and snip as much as I can out. Wear eye protection so you don't get smacked in the eye with a piece of metal. Sharp metal too. Sometimes if you see there's 3 little tabs there, and if you get on them like behind it, this sometimes you can really cut a big chunk out. Don't always go. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That's when you got to get this back out. And if you got tool again, it's a wrench. This is like, I believe, like a wood carving bit. Something other like that. You gotta get in there. You see how that one just kind of fell out like that? I tell you one of the secrets. Not really a secret, it's just if you don't sit there and push this thing into it and just kind of lay it on there, it kind of bounces around a little bit, but you get it to fall like in the low spot, like in the valley and whatnot. It cuts out faster. That cleaned out the valley real easy. So now these will just slide up and down real easy. That's pretty much all on that. Now it's back to this. This has to be drilled out more. And we got to get out screws for that. Hoping maybe you can read that. That's like the size I'm using. Because this has deep post on it, sometimes they're shallow. There's also some screws like this that are half the size, or you can cut them. If you do it right, you can cut them. It's very small, tedious stuff. So, all we need to do is go, every bit of that far with the drill bit. So put on what I usually do is I just put it in there like that, and I usually run my fingernail up to it like that, and I pull it back out, and I look at it and I see how far I've gone down. And then what I do is I put this drill bit on the outside of the post. I put my fingernail down to it, and then what I can do is I can see how far I can go. See how much further I can go up. I can go up further. After you drill it out enough, what you want to do is just take it. You're not drilling, you're moving it around. So you kind of shave the inside to make it just a hair a little bit bigger so that you can fit this tap in there. So after you got it drilled like that, you're going to have to get the tap. And I dab it in a little bit of grease like that. Just put a little piece in there like that. Flip it around. Put it on there like that. Line it up straight. And hold the back of it like this. Feel it start to catch and get in there. Yep. I usually end up just holding it like this. Working with 2 fingers like that. Now feel it, wiggle it back and forth like that, go some more, and you'll feel it start to get tight. Wiggle it around, move it. You don't want to force it, just, you know, because that's how you break these tabs. And if you break one in a post, not necessarily easy to get out. Sometimes you can't, depending on the casting and the situation. Now, I felt like I couldn't go no further. That's because it's bottomed out. So pull it out, and then, you know, move it a little like that as it's coming out. Just a little bit on there. Kind of just wipe it off with my finger, and I get a paper towel, and I just wipe the tap out like that. And now I can do this side. Now, I talked about how I had two different size screws. There they are. I accidentally grabbed one of the more shallow ones. I save those for the ones you need it for. Like if you're doing a pickup truck, they have a really shallow post a lot of times because they got the bed and they can be difficult. I mean, if you drill through all the way, it's not really that bad. It's only bad when the screw sticks up a lot further than the bed. Other than that, if it's flush with the bed, it's not really that bad looking or noticeable, I don't think. So this is all tapped and done. And one thing that's good to do that I don't do, that I'm going to start doing, is putting these on first. And screwing them in there. So you can move this back and forth, kind of, you know, unscrew it, and then kind of screw it back in until you bottom out. And take it back out. It don't matter. It's the more you do that, the looser the screw will get, and then it makes it much easier to put these things back together and to take them apart. Especially, you really need to do it if you're going to have axles and stuff that are loose and you have to put the car together a certain way. You know, it has to be put together upside down or whatever, because if not, then it doesn't line up right. So if you just do this first, it makes it easier. And this is the first time I've done that, because I usually don't. You can line up the screw. See, you want to do that. That's very important to pre-fit these screws, because when you go to put it together, sometimes it won't. And you just keep turning and turning, and nothing will happen. So it's really better if you just do that. Okay, so now, after all that's done, gonna set wheels back in here. Take this base, and this should pop back together. Yeah, like that. Put screws in it. See if we can't. Yeah, see, I pre-fitted them, so I'm making them easier to put them together. Alright, so it appears that this car rolls fine, because it rolls right off the table. Yeah, but you got to be careful, you know, because those crimps do help keep the axle in place. And when you grind them out like that, there is a chance of having them rub on the wheel wells. If that happens, then you might have to grind out the wheel well some, or you might have to glue, or I prefer to JB weld the axles into place. I think those wheels look pretty good on there. They're just black 10 spokes. Just like these, except these are teal. There's nothing wrong with these wheels. But I think that these would look good on like an import or tuner. And I think that these black ones look really good on here. They go good with the black trim and the interior. Black and white is the perfect combination, I think. In my opinion. Those two colors go better. They're actually not even colors. They're just shades of light. But I'll say they're colors. And black and white go, nothing goes better together in my opinion than black and white. That's pretty nice. Yeah, real nice. Alright, so I hope you found it helpful. If you want to leave a comment, tell me what you think. If it helped, give me a thumbs up. If you found it helpful, share the video out. See you guys later.